Back in 12th century India, there's this incredible saga of two brothers. It's a story packed with heroism, absolute loyalty, and in the end, just gut-wrenching tragedy. This is the epic of Alha and Udal. So, I want you to remember this number, 52. This is why Alha and Udal are absolute legends. 52 major battles fought and 52 battles won. They were, without a doubt, the unbeatable protectors of their kingdom, Mahoba, and the two greatest warriors of their time. And that question, well, that's the key to their entire story. Because for all their power, for all their strength on the battlefield, their greatest challenge wasn't going to come from an enemy's sword. No, it was going to come from the very king they had sworn to protect. All right, so let's get into it. Let's meet our heroes, Alha and Udal, two brothers from the Banaphar clan serving King Parmal of Mahoba. And like so many great stories, theirs begins in fire and in loss. You see, the brothers were orphaned when their father and uncle, who were legendary generals themselves, were deceitfully murdered. But they weren't left alone. The Queen of Mahoba, Malhana, she raised them as her own sons, and she made sure they were trained in every single art of warfare. This tragic start to their lives, it forged this unbreakable bond between them and this fierce, unwavering loyalty to the kingdom that took them in. And as warriors, they were a perfect match. Alha, the older brother, was the calm, strategic one, the master tactician. In fact, folktales say a goddess actually blessed him with immortality. And then you have Udal, the younger brother. He was pure fire, impulsive, fierce, just a whirlwind of destruction on the battlefield. You could say one was the unbreakable shield and the other was the unstoppable sword. And honestly, everything about them was legendary, right down to their horses. Udal's horse, Badula, was famous across the land. It was a war horse so fast, people said it literally raced the wind itself. So, the brothers are bringing Mahoba all this glory, victory after victory, but you know how it goes. With fame comes envy. And this is where the story takes a dark turn. Tragically, their greatest victories ended up planting the seeds of their own downfall. So as the brothers become these celebrated heroes, a jealous courtier named Mahal starts poisoning the king's mind. He whispers that they're getting too powerful, that they're a threat to the throne itself. And the worst part? King Parmal listened. His trust just shattered, and over some petty argument, he did the unthinkable. He exiled his two greatest champions. Just think about that. In one single moment of paranoia and weakness, King Parmal threw out the very men who had won him 52 battles. He didn't just exile two generals, he literally broke the back of his own kingdom. And as you can imagine, a weak kingdom is a target. With Alha and Udal gone, Mahoba's biggest rival, the great King Prithviraj Chauhan, saw his chance. He marched his massive army to conquer the now defenseless kingdom. Desperate, King Parmal sends a message, begging the brothers to come back. And despite the betrayal, despite the exile, they heard the Jungmabhumi ki Pakar, the call of their motherland. Their loyalty, you see, was to Mahoba, not just its flawed king. And so they returned, without a moment's hesitation. And on that battlefield, Udal was unleashed. Riding his legendary horse Badula, he charged into the enemy ranks not like a man, but like a storm, a tempest, fighting for his home, his honor, and for the brother right beside him. The epic poems say he wielded two swords, moving so fast that he was just a blur of steel and absolute fury. He tore through Prithviraj Chauhan's army, single-handedly turning the tide of a battle that everyone thought was hopelessly lost. But even legends can bleed. After a fight of unimaginable heroism, surrounded by enemies, the unstoppable Udal was finally struck down. He achieved Veer Gati, a warrior's glorious death on the battlefield, right in front of his beloved brother. Seeing his younger brother fall, it shattered Alhola. But his grief didn't last. It transformed into something truly terrifying, Pralyankari Krodh, a cataclysmic rage. The calm, strategic general was gone, replaced by a force of pure, raw annihilation. And I need you to understand, Pralyankari doesn't just mean angry. We are talking about a fury on the scale of a natural disaster, an apocalypse. At that moment, Alha wasn't just fighting anymore. He became the end of the world for the army that took his brother. So, the battle was over. The dust settled on a victory for Mahoba, but it was a victory that felt like a devastating, hollow loss. Fueled by that rage, Allah had completely decimated the enemy. He'd even captured their king, Prithviraj Chauhan, himself. Mahoba was safe, but at what cost? Udal was gone. And for Allah, the very kingdom he had just saved now felt completely empty. Now, with his greatest enemy in chains, Alha could have had his final revenge. But his spiritual teacher, Guru Gorakhnath, he advised a different path entirely, a path away from vengeance. And in this incredible act of mercy, Alha pardoned Prithviraj Chauhan and set him free. And with that, his fight was over. Alha, the immortal warrior, gave up his weapons, renounced the entire world of kings and battles, and dedicated the rest of his long life to spiritual solitude and devotion. He won the war, but he chose to just walk away from the prize. So in the end, we're left with this thought. Alha and Udal won 52 battles with their swords. But maybe Alha's greatest victory, his most profound show of strength, was the one he won not by fighting, but by finally laying his sword down. It really makes you ask, what is the true measure of a hero's strength?